Hello friends, it's Tanya and I'm back with a couple of Ghoulish pop-up cards. This is a Slimline pop-up card and we are going to start out by using the Distress Oxides in the gray tones to black, pumice stone, hickory, smoke, and black soot. And we're going to ink this 5.5 by 8.5 inch panel because we're going to use that to make our own pattern paper, so to speak. So we're going to blend those really nicely back and forth here. I really needed to re-ink my ink pads, and because I had to make, I think, 3 or 4 of these 5.5 by 8.5 panels to get all that I needed, but I'm only going to show you at one. I know this is a lot of work. This is a really extra kind of element. However, I love the stamp I'm going to use, and you're going to love it too. In fact, everyone loved it so much when it first came out. It sold out within, probably an hour. It's amazing. I love it. Anyway, going back and forth. And as you can see, I did black to hickory smoke to pumice stone, and then on the left side, and then on the right, I did it too on a smaller portion. So about 4.5 inches on of the 5.5 inch width is one of the blends, and then I blended it the other way also, because we're going to get 2 impressions out of this to use on the different elements that we're going to die cut. Now I actually intended to flip that the other way so that the darkest part would be at the bottom of these ghosts. And oh, I love this. This is a stamp, a Slimline stamp from Trinity Stamps, called Slimline Booze. It is amazing. I love it. It's so cute. Anyway, I'm going to emboss this with white satin pearl over the top of this blended panel. And we'll heat set that quick. Oh, there's a little fuzz in there that I picked out with my fingers, which was really risky. You know, it's best to use something like a tweezer or the tip of a pokey tool. But I was really daring and I just reached in there and grabbed it, and I didn't mess it up. However, this is a kind of a background element. It doesn't really take center stage, but it does add amazing detail. I've seen some really cute projects with this. Now, this doesn't have to be Halloween themed. As you see, my pop-up cards aren't necessarily, as you will see, they aren't necessarily Halloween, but they are spooky. So we've got this extra piece that I cut off. This is at about 4 inches, so this is an 1.5 inch strip. This is what's left. So we're going to stamp this again, and you'll see how I use that in just a little bit. Now, Trinity Stamps has a new release for October that just came out, and they have a Slimline pop-up card die set in that release. So excited. I think I'm going to have to purchase that one too. This is from Scrappy Tales. So I had purchased this Slimline pop-up box from Scrappy Tales, and I had to use it for this card. As you can see, all of these panels, now these just cut a straight edge, no stitching or embossing or any special detail. There is, however, a cute detail on the flap pieces. So you're going to need, depending on how many sides of things that you use on this, you're going to need 2 each of the dies, except for the these are kind of like shelves to me. That's how I kind of think of them, but they're the panels or the strips that you put on the inside to glue things. And you do want more than, generally you want more than one of those. I am going to use 3. And now I'm going to glue all of these little elements. You got to make sure if you're using directional paper, that you make sure your little elements are going to be facing the right direction in the end. So these top flourished pieces are the ones that are cut from that little 1.5 inch strip. And I'm going to glue those in place. They just glue on quickly like so. And you can glue them on both sides of the flap, because when it's folded, you're going to see the backs of these. So if you want, you can cover those also. It's one more step. If you're using pattern paper, that might be a little tough if you don't have enough of the pattern paper in a specific pattern. But when you're making it yourself, you can make as many pieces as you want, which is one of the benefits of making your own backgrounds. You can make as much as you need for whatever project you're doing. And I did accidentally glue that on the wrong side with my first, yeah. Well, no, with the first panel I did it right. The second piece I did it wrong. So I cut that out. You didn't have to watch me mess it up. Just know that I did, and then I fixed it. So we're going to put a little extra strong, some Score Pal adhesive here. And I do use the liquid glue on top for extra strength. This is a interactive card, and I know from experience the box cards and boxes can actually let go. The Score Pal tape can let go after that, after a few uses. Or what is this called? Score tape? Yeah, not Score Pal, Score tape. So the liquid glue on top of it adds a little insurance. It also gives you a little wiggle room to get your placement just right. Otherwise, that stuff, once you put some pressure on it, it's there forever. So my tip for putting together a box card is that you're going to put all of the little shelves or your little strips of paper in here first, and you're going to line up the flap edge with the corner of one of the sides, not the fronts, one of the sides, and then you're going to fold it over, and you'll see how that all lines up nicely. So I'm going to take the other strip of paper off, and I'll add some liquid glue to that also, along with the flap for to join the box into 4 square corners. After you have all of your adhesive applied and exposed, you're going to fold it flat with all of the flaps out where they need to be. And then after you make sure everybody's lined up correctly, then you can close that end flap and add a little pressure, and there is your completed box structure. And then you can get to town on adding all of your elements. So I have had the Booyah box from Kindred Stamps and the, I think it's called Teen Detective box from Kindred Stamps for ages. And I colored up a bunch of those images. This is both, it's kind of a Ghostbusters themed stamp set. And it's both the new and the old. And I found a die kit from Spellbinders. I think that's from 2018. You might have it in your stash with a cat, some words, some flourishes, the bats, the ghosts, all of that goodness, along with the elements from these stamp sets. And this is the Teen Detective themed one. The sentiment glued to the front flap is actually from the Slimline Boo stamp set. Love that. That's embossed in silver and used, I think that was the Honeybee Stamps Sentiment Banner die set. I love that. I use that all the time. Now these, however, will not fit into the Slimline envelopes. I ended up having to make some envelopes for these using the envelope punch board. I have an app on my phone that lets me figure out how to cut everything and then use the envelope punch board to make, I think it was to fit a 9 and a 9.5 by 5-inch card for these. I hope you enjoyed them. Check out the description box for all of the supplies I used. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.